Hello friends, Pratima here. So I have been using the Motorola Edge 50 Fusion as my primary phone for about a month now. Literally everyone on the internet is saying how good of a phone this is, and yes, it is, but there are some things that I think most reviews have missed out on, which I am going to share with you in my full 1 month experience video right here. So wait till the end to find out. Okay, first let me start with the good things about this phone, and the first thing I like about all Motorola phones is their designs. Motorola has once again done a pretty awesome job of making this phone so lightweight without making it feel cheap. And honestly, once I switched to my main phone, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, it felt so heavy and I instantly missed the comfortable ergonomics of the Edge 50 Fusion. This is one comfortable phone to hold, and I was able to use it with a single hand with ease for a longer period. The grip also is solid here with subtle curves on both the sides, and I absolutely love this leather design at the back with no weird camera layout or bumps or anything as such. Plus, this is also the cheapest phone right now to come with full IP68 ingress protection, which means I don't have to worry about the phone getting drenched in rain in this monsoon season. Another thing I also found out is that this leather back is not of a cheap quality, okay? Yes, it does catch dust and gets dirty over time, but a simple clean makes it feel new. My office colleague has been using last year's Motorola Edge 40 and it still looks good as new. What I'm trying to say is you don't have to worry about wear and tear with this phone. Motorola is also offering a good quality AMOLED screen here. It refreshes at 144 Hz, and setting it to run at this speed from the settings, you can see the UI and the apps, everything runs at 144 Hz. Plus, Motorola has optimized the software very well here with smooth animations all around. So this phone actually feels quite fast while navigating through the UI, in the multitasking tray, as well as while scrolling through the apps. And even the core quality of this display is nice. It can get bright enough and is perfectly visible outdoors, while the minimal brightness is also quite low. However, there is one con to this display, which is that there is no HDR video playback support on any OTT apps and even on YouTube. But overall, the colors are nice and accurate here, and you can change between multiple profiles and adjust the color temperature from the settings to match your preference. By the way, I also like its speakers. It is decently loud, and I found it to have better frequency response in the treble region too. So actually a good speaker system here for casually listening to Spotify or watching content. But I am a little disappointed with the haptics here. It's slightly buzzy and it does not have that pleasing response which you get on phones like the OnePlus Nord CE4. Motorola, I think, has to improve in this aspect. Anyway, the performance of the Moto Edge 50 Fusion is just okay for the price. It features the Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 chipset along with 8GB of DDR4X RAM and UFS 2.2 storage. So yeah, nothing extraordinary in terms of benchmarks, and it falls behind the Nord CE4 or the Infinix GT20 Pro that sells for a very similar price. But Motorola has optimized the performance very well here, and I'm extremely happy about that. As I said earlier, it feels fast and the clean Moto UI enhances the experience. So overall, good for day-to-day usage. However, I did notice this phone overheating while playing demanding games like Genshin Impact. It reached around 47 degrees at the back, which is not ideal. Likewise, even when I was recording videos or browsing the internet using mobile data outside in a sunny environment, this phone would get slightly warm, okay? Not overbearingly, but it would get warm. I think the reason this is happening is, number one, it's quite a slim phone, and number two, Motorola has not included any kind of vapor chamber cooling solution here. So if you play high-end games like Genshin Impact in 60 FPS mode, the phone will quickly throttle and dial down the FPS to 40. However, games like PUBG and Call of Duty have no problem running well with cooler temperatures and good stability. The battery Motorola has included here is a regular 5000 mAh cell, but since I have been using this phone at 144 Hz mode and the phone has a tendency of heating up at times, I am not getting as good of a battery backup as the Nord CE4, which we all know has a bigger 5500 mAh cell. So in my typical usage, I was only getting a maximum of 6 hours of screen on time. As a result, I've always had to rush home to get it charged while I was back at home at night. Motorola does offer a 68-watt brick inside the box, which is nice, and this fast charger can go from 0 to 60% in 30 minutes and 100% in 1 hour. By the way, you also get a nice back cover inside the box, but one of the things that Motorola does not include is a pre-applied screen protector. Luckily, I have not gotten any big scratches here, so the Gorilla Glass 5 has stood up well, but my recommendation to you would be get a very nice screen protector as soon as you get the phone. Okay, lastly, let's talk about the cameras. And if you look at the history of most Motorola phones last year, the cameras have been their biggest Achilles heel. I remember how average last year's Motorola Edge 40 and 40 Neo's cameras were, but this year they have improved a lot in terms of the optimization, especially in the portrait department. As you can see, the Edge 50 Fusion clicks better portraits than the Nord CE4. It brightens up the skin tone to make them look pleasing, and it has better edge detection too. This is true for most portraits I have clicked from this phone. Plus, Motorola also lets you shoot at 1.5x and 2x modes for better subject focus and background blur, which looks much better than the regular 1x shots. This year, Motorola has used this new Sony LTY700C sensor here, and I found the normal daytime images to have decent details and contrast is well managed. But in most photos, the color saturation is quite high, which might look good in some photos, whereas in some photos like this one, it does look too much processed. Most of the time, I found it not handling the reds and greens very well. While as you zoom into this Stupa image, you can see how it over sharpens the photos and boosts the contrast, which does not look very natural. I, however, like the low light shots as they look better to the eyes with nice details despite being again a bit saturated and warm. Motorola is also offering a high-res 13-megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera with autofocus, something that is unheard in this price range, by the way. Sadly, Motorola has not optimized the ultra-wide-angle images that well as I would have liked. I think it should have been doing better. With the autofocus though, you can take some really good looking macro shots. Even the selfies are just okay for the price. It's a bit contrasty and darker than the Nord CE4. Videos, however, are good. You can record 4K videos from all the lenses, and it's good enough for sharing it with your friends with nice details and contrast. However, like photos, they come out a bit oversaturated. As expected, the ultra-wide-angle videos are soft, but it's marginally better than the 1080p videos you get from similarly priced phones like the Nord CE4. Okay, so with everything I just talked about, this phone, the Motorola Edge 50 Fusion, for a starting price of 23,000 rupees is definitely an excellent package with a gorgeous design, superb display, acceptable performance, battery life, and not so optimized cameras, but still good enough for the price. But I think what most reviewers have missed out on are two things about this phone. Number one, Motorola's update policy. It's just so far behind the competition. I have used this phone for over a month now, and Motorola has not pushed any update to either improve the cameras or offer the latest security badges. And at the same time, I have received 2 updates on the Nord CE4 already. Plus, if you look at last year's Motorola Edge 40 series, they are one of the slowest phones to receive Android 14. The number 2 problem with Motorola Edge 50 Fusion is stock availability. The one I have with me is a review unit, and I was able to get it before the launch, but if you want to buy the Edge 50 Fusion right now, after more than a month of its launch, the stock is just not there. So I think these are the things Motorola's got to improve, because I see a real potential here. In fact, Motorola has currently entered into the top 10 Android smartphone brands in India with over 100% growth in 2023. They are the fastest growing brand right now. So this year too, with all the lineups, they are doing some excellent work with the pricing and specs. But to be the best, I really hope they improve the update record, stock availability, and more importantly, I hope they work on optimizing their cameras better. Alright everybody, that was all for my full 1 month experience with the Motorola Edge 50 Fusion. Do let me know what you think about this phone in the comments below, and while you're there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon as well. Till then, I'm Pratima, and I'll see you in the next video.